Bruce Cockburn, if I had a rocket launcher. We're about 20 seconds shy of 8 o'clock, and welcome to a start of the week, a Monday edition of the Mornings with Ed show on the all-new Voice of Laguna, as we do each and every Monday. It's time for the Artist Corner, this morning being brought to you by the folks over at the Honacar Foundation for Arts and Culture. Artist Corner is one of my favorite segments. It gives us an opportunity to meet an artist that we may or may not know, but by the time we're done with this conversation, man, do we have a great idea. Diana Garreau stands as a provocative force in wallpaper and home decor and jewelry and textile design. And as I was doing my homework on her, my God, she's amazing. And I noticed as I met her for the first time just moments ago, she has this beautiful, colorful necklace on with a shell on it. And I thought to my first thing I thought of was, how do I get one of those? That's absolutely beautiful. That's magnificent. We welcome in for the Artist Corner this morning, Diana Garreau. Good morning, Diana. How are you?
Morning. I'm good, thank you. And thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you.
And meeting you, too.
It's
been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
Like 10 minutes, but it's a pleasure.
This was a great it was a great pre-air conversation, and we have a lot of the same likes we would talk about. And as I mention here often on the show, one of the valuable jewels in this community is Michael, our greeter, and you and I shared some thoughts on Michael this morning, and what a wonderful
human,
what a wonderful person he is, and what a great value he lends to this community.
We have a lot to learn from him, just in the kindness and generosity that he has.
We really do.
Yeah.
We really do. And I feel that in my my short time of knowing him, I have actually learned to be a little more generous and a little, I think about it, a little more loving. And I think that's wonderful for all of us. So your art, and the first thing that strikes me about your art, and you use textiles and beautiful patterns and colors, and color is so important and even right now, as I stand here and I look at you, color is what you're about. You beam beautiful colors.
Yeah. Yes, I think that is attributed to living in Africa for many years. I traveled to Australia as well, and it's colors and shapes and forms and color is important.
Right.
And the colors, how they sit next to each other, is another level of where I like to go and experiment with different unusual colors, how they can be sitting comfortably or vibrating next to each other, and what that message gives to somebody.
Right. And I'm curious as to, okay, so you were born in Madagascar, but you spent your first 30 years in Kenya and Zimbabwe, and in those African nations, is there a stark difference in the art and what you can learn from each of those nations?
Yes, there is. What's very unusual in Africa, what I'd noticed was each country had, even though they're neighboring countries, they have different icons and different color sensibilities. What a blue might mean to like Zimbabwe to South Africa. Another thing that I find unusual is in Africa, because they're surrounded by nature, they use circles more than squares. Squares are not comfortable for them. Right. So it's interesting picking that up and then bringing that, I don't like all squares in my house. I have to have a round table. I have to have something spherical. So I did pick it up without knowing that I had picked it up through osmosis. And then, the dot formation in Australia, the Aborigines, and how those dots can lie next to each other. But then having European parents, then you see Surat and how he put dots together. And I think it's not by accident. I think in our DNA we have so much primitive codes printed in us that we feel comfortable when we see it, but we don't understand why, and that's what I find interesting. That
is beautifully stated, by the way. Thank you for the clarity on that. And as you were talking of squares and the discomfort with all squares and spherical things, do you feel as an artist, as you're laying something down, a design, a pattern, as you're laying something down, do you feel an energy difference in those shapes?
I sometimes look at it and I think, what does this need? And often it's a curve.
Okay.
Right. Curves are welcoming. So I find curves are important. Even in like in an animal's back, there's a curve. Like we are surrounded by curves, and I just think we need those. We need they're comforting.
Okay, that's beautiful. Yeah. Okay, and so with an early gravitating early toward art. As a child, what were the things you would sketch? What were the things you would notice as a child? And did your parents fully jump on board when you decided to become an artist?
Actually, that's a good question. So my father wanted me to be a doctor, and my mother, I think, could see that I was very art orientated. And when I was turning to be 14, 15, I was definitely doing more drawings. And, yes, I had Barbie dolls, but I found it more fun, not so much to play with the Barbie doll, but to make a house for her. So the chimney became her house, and so I think I also started a love of interiors in that way. But my dad went from being a doctor to, maybe she should be a lawyer. And then it was like, well, maybe she should become an air hostess because it wasn't going to happen. And then I think he finally gave in. I think he was terrified about financially supporting myself as an artist in that period of time when he lived, So I think that propelled me to have a business mind. I wanted my dad to be proud of me, even though we did not really get on, but it helped me to stay focused and make it a business to show him. He died when I was 20, but it still stayed with me that I needed to show him I could make a business out of art. Right. It was like a force that I stayed with.
So you chose early on, you chose the field of graphic design. Was that kind of a compromise to, yes, I can still do art, but I can do art in a space that is more business-like?
No, not really. I think I was drawn to graphics.
Okay.
Yeah, and then and I always knew I could draw, but I wanted to somehow the advertising world at that time. And I finished all my education at 15, so I went to South Africa at 15 to study graphic design.
Right. And does graphic design? And this may be the dumbest question you'll ever get, but does graphic design, and obviously it lends itself to working in advertising, does working in advertising kind of constrict your artistic ability, where you're almost having to make formulas?
Yes, yes it does, but I also learned, I think I went to a fabulous school, which was known in South Africa in Durban, but I learned so many techniques, and most of the 3 years that I studied was techniques, and so I applied it because I could paint at home, but I was learning techniques and balance and the history of art. So and I loved fonts, to do lettering, but I did notice at the age of 30 I did start going into textiles for the freedom of it, and I still painted at home. Like I always painted.
Right. As I read your bio, I thought to myself, well, yeah, so she's multi-talented, multi-skilled, and I'm not trying to embarrass you here, but multi-skilled in so many different areas of art. And what I notice in a lot of it, and including the jewelry and the pillows and the wallpaper, is a flow that reminds me, when I look at it, of the flow of an ocean. What does the ocean mean to you? And
everything.
Okay.
I love.
I can feel that. I can see that.
I love the ocean. I actually have to see the ocean every day, and what it actually does, I look at it in the morning like I did this morning, and it kind of wipes the slate clean for me, because when I see the horizon, it's like a blank canvas, and it allows me, it refreshes me, it's like a reboot of my brain, and I can approach something I did the day before with different eyes, or I just approach it with a different look, and sometimes I go, okay, I was on the right track, or it gives me the ability to go, you know what, I think we should apply color on this. I don't know, it just gives me a reboot every morning. It's the infinity of it that I love, and it helps me to just see something clear the next day, or be submerged in the water as well. I just find it a very powerful tool for me to keep the creative.
It wipes the slate clean.
Yeah, because there's no trees, there's nothing to like go, oh, there's a squirrel up that tree, or so, I don't know. But I
Right.
mean, when I see a dolphin, I love that too. But I mean, don't get me wrong. But it's somehow I just seeing infinity helps me to see something close up, if that makes sense to you.
It does. And I'm just going to ask you a personal question here. Do you ever
Yeah.
go to the ocean and just close your eyes and listen?
Always.
To it? Is there nothing
Always.
better than that?
I look at, and I believe there's an energy in it. I mean, I've read about the ions that when the ocean meets the sand and the ions are emitted are so small, and it goes into your pores, it goes into your lungs, and it's supposed to be very good for you. And I believe that. Like, it's just something I believe, and I breathe it in.
Right.
I mean, I know it sounds woo-woo, but I'm not that person. Like, I've got a lot of friends that I talk about. I go, really? Does that really work? But for me, it's my energy source.
Right. I love the fact that you use the term woo-woo, and I use that sometimes as well. And
Yeah.
I don't want to go woo-woo
Yeah.
on you or anything
Yeah.
here. So your love for the ocean kind of, did that lead you into working for the surf industry, and was that a natural fit for you?
No, not really. It was, I think, a little bit of both, because I love the ocean. In Durban, I was boogie boarding. I was always on the beach, and our culture there was surf, and that was when gotcha was happening, and
Right.
a lot of the surf brands. And then I started drawing for them, because I could draw, and I on the commercial world there was the T-shirts, and I got to know the presidents of those companies, and that then got transplanted over here with Gotcha, MCD.
Right.
Rusty was run by Barry Wallens at the time. So when I came here, there was an infrastructure that I could plug into,
Right.
which gave me the confidence to come here too, But it was just hand in hand, knowing them from being on the beach, their love of the ocean. I understood the culture very much. I understand the surf culture for sure. And I landed up working with a lot of the brands here.
So
Just-
you eventually relocated here to Southern California, opened up your second textile shop.
No, yes, because then in South Africa I was a little bit more in advertising and doing textiles there, but this is when I just started my own company from the beginning, because I could, and I was so fortunate that I knew the people from South Africa, and they knew me,
Right.
and they allowed me to work on their projects. And then, then people like Bear was a company that was running at the time, so I worked with them, and then with Nat Northfleet, we helped to relaunch the old icons and the retro look. And so I worked with some amazing people in the surf industry. And then then the whole sporting look came in with, and I started getting a name. I started doing the shows in Europe, and it just snowballed. And then I got a studio in Argentina, because I needed. I met a guy from Argentina here, and he did good work. And then I said to him, well, let's open a studio in Argentina. And he found, I looked at his friends that studied together with him, and I said, well, let's get this guy, let's get that guy. So I had a studio in Argentina for about 12 years.
Right. And tell us your experience there, because my entire family's from Argentina.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
curious as to your experience there.
Well, what I loved about working with the people there, they had a good work ethic.
Right.
They also had great universities. So with that work ethic and their understanding of art. But what I think really helps that country is they are not allowed, not so much not allowed, but any imports into Argentina are extremely expensive. Books are expensive, magazines are expensive. So I can't say to them, well, let's do a Gucci type or Pucci type design. And that's one thing I don't normally say, because I like everything to be new in my approach. That was my studio was known for trending. So, but they would say to me, who's Pucci?
Right.
And I loved that. I loved that they had no limitations. That when you go to their restaurants, they source things. I think they are, talk about recycling. They were doing that way before it became a trend, out of necessity,
Right.
So for me, they were such open, their minds were so open. They weren't trapped by our Hermes looks and Pucci looks and this. They were just so free to, I'll say, well, it swirls and it's at dots. So when we worked on really new things. They didn't have boundaries that we have here. Does that
Right.
make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It makes
Yeah.
complete sense. Spanish history and art with its own
Yeah.
spin, really.
Yes, yeah.
And were you? And I know you do now, because as I look at your artwork, I can tell that you pull from different cultures. You're pulling at the same time from your experiences in Africa and South America.
And Europe, because we went to Europe so much. My dad was French, my mom English, so I love Victorian jewelry, and the precisionness of it, so a lot of my jewelry brings in Victorian elements. Like I was obsessed on it, and jet, the what they carve out of fossilized coal, and I don't know. So I draw from all over the world and I put things together. I think that's what I'm maybe good at doing without sounding egotistical, but it's what I love doing and seeing what works together.
I read that designing jewelry is almost a personal escape for you. Explain that for me, please.
Yes, well, that started when I was deep in the textile world and I was going to Europe I was on an international flight or show once a month,
Right.
and it was just turning fashion. Like, it was new ideas, it was burning, because in the fashion world, there's seasons, and that's out, and then this is in, and
Right.
some of it gets carried over and some doesn't. So when I was looking at the Victorian jewelry, and I was thinking, I love this, and it's 100 years old, and some of it's fresh. So jewelry was a way for me to approach things that could have true permanence and not just lasting a season. I wanted my jewelry to be carried to the next generation or be worn and cherished throughout that person's life. So I really wanted that jewelry to be very special and not trend-driven.
Right. So I'm curious as to the creative process and the difference of the creative process behind wallpaper and jewelry.
Well, the wallpaper started when I had done many years of textiles, 26 years of textiles. I was getting to 50, and things had changed in my life, and I was thinking, and also with the advent of cell phones coming in,
Right.
there was so much copying. Like at the shows, people were watching each other's booths for people taking photographs, and I didn't know if I wanted to be so much in that world anymore. Prices were dropping in that world, and there was too much copying. I mean, it was... I felt it was time to leave, and I was also getting a very deep interest in interiors. So, and then COVID came, and I thought, wait a minute, everyone is going to be in their homes looking at their four walls. And I had already started wallpaper, and I just thought, you know what, it's time to let go. Like, let go of these shows. It was just like a very strong feeling to let that go, even though it'd been 30 years of being on and off planes, and to go into text. And my IT guy had to transfer and upload some stuff on the cloud for me, and I had 200,000 designs over 30 years. So I was thinking, I have enough work here that I can do wallpapers, and it was truly a new interest. Like, it was weird because it took about 3 years for me to not go, Valentine's Day, there was a show that I did for 30 years or 26 years that I kept going, Valentine's Day, I've got that show to prepare for, that I had to let it go. I mean, it was sort of built in me. But so that was a textile, the how wallpapers came into my life and how I enjoy it, and changing a room became important. But the jewelry was, I approach it in a different way because it's more permanent, but I just have eyes that I go, like lapis suddenly became an obsession. And it's, how do I change this lapis? How do I make this new that no one's seen it? My work has to be new where no one has seen it before. And I approach the jewelry that way too, but with a different way. It's got to be on someone. How does it enhance that person's skin tone? Who can wear it? What is the balance? What can it be worn with?
Right.
Yeah.
So you almost took the next question out of my mouth. So when someone, let's say they purchase a new home and they want to make this wall look spectacular, you sit with them for a while, get their feel. How do you determine what you put on their wall?
The important thing is the word them. I try never to work without the husband or the wife around. Like, it's got to be a joint process.
Right.
And I think it brings them together. It helps them to land on the same page, where they then can enjoy that wallpaper as a process that they've done together. It's a bonding thing. It's something that they've enjoyed from the very beginning, and they've both had a voice. And I find it, and my most important question that I ask a couple is, what do you not like? And believe me, people know what they don't like more than what they like, because sometimes with my work, it's they haven't seen it yet to like. But when I show them images and I go, please, I have no ego, just tell me that you don't like this, and I'll go, well, what don't you like about it? And that's another thing that I might segue into. Is that knowing what they don't like is so much easier, and I just completely take that out of the equation. I don't try to talk them into it. I just work with what I think they like and the colors, and it becomes a much easier process.
And I'm curious, you say you don't have an ego, and I believe you. However, when they say they don't like something, do you ever get an inkling to go back maybe and change something about what you're currently showing them, for instance, and go...
No, because I establish what they don't like before I bring it into what I'm going to be working on. Because I bring my work, and I go over images, and I go, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. And it'll be, oh, I hate brown. I mean, I'm not going to put brown into something if they hate it, you know?
Right.
So I just do that. I just separate. I just remember what they like. I keep those images in my mind, and I write down what they don't like.
Do you doodle? And when you're doodling, what exactly do you doodle?
Actually, I used to doodle a lot more, and maybe I should get back into it, because now my doodles just go into jewelry.
I should have left you a pad and some paper right there, pen and paper.
It should be. I doodle, I guess, when I need to design jewelry, and but yeah, I do. You know what? I guess my doodling has turned into looking at images for wallpaper. Like I'll try and look for something that a client might like, or and then I'll go, you know, do you like, I don't know, it's a good question. I think I've got to go back into doodling.
Okay.
I don't doodle as much as I should. Let's put it that way.
I doodle waves, and I'm not very good at it. I have never been artistically inclined that way, but when I doodle like waves and lines that eventually become waves.
Maybe if I doodle, I would say it's nature, it's flowers, because I used to draw so many flowers for the textile when I was doing textiles that I do that, you know.
Do you approach murals differently than a wallpaper?
Well, the thing is, for me, I say wallpaper, but honestly, all the wallpapers I've put up have all been murals.
Right.
They're not in repeat.
Okay.
But I'm looking at doing repeat work in the sense of images that are repeated for people that would prefer that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Most of my wallpapers have turned out to be complete murals. That they're forever changing, you know? Right. Yeah.
And
there's no repeats.
What hangs on your walls at home?
I don't have anything of my own work in my house.
Okay.
But I love I guess I love Haitian art. I get obsessed on this. They do sequined art. It's different cultures, like it's the Christian, and I wouldn't want to say voodoo, but they're native beliefs that they've put together. But it's so well done. They do it with sequins and different beads. So I think it's art and beadwork put together, and it's like the ultimate for me. So my two worlds coming together. So I have those on the wall.
And you've traveled a good portion of the world. And if there's a place that you haven't visited that you would visit simply to take in its beauty or to take in its art, is there a place that you would nail down and want to go to?
I'd love to spend time in Indonesia.
Okay.
Yeah, in Indo and that area, just to, you know, they're very good skilled craftsmen, their beaches, how they do their architecture. Yeah, I'd love to learn and spend some time learning of what they do. And
back to Argentina for just 1 second. While you were there, obviously Argentina has a lot of European influence in its architecture and its art.
Yeah.
Is that what you found also in Brazil?
Brazil was more doing shows. I had to hustle. Right. I love their food, and I used to hire a driver because it's dense in Sao Paulo where the show was. But I would sit with my driver in the evening because after a show we would and he would show me the back streets. I mean, we got to be friends because every time I did the show, I would pick. So it was more. Actually, you know what? For me, it was the graffiti on the walls. Every spare wall had graffiti on it, and it was amazing, and it was part of their culture and color again, how the women dress, their color, they embrace their bodies, their curves, very and with proudness, like high shoes, it was interesting. I love that. I love seeing people proud of their cultures. It's so great.
Could you imagine yourself as a graffiti artist?
I would love to try it. Yeah. Yeah, why not?
All right. I got some spray paint.
Okay. Right here. Yeah, anything new I'm in for. Like even now, I think we're like with 3D printing and AI. I don't know how much I want the AI. The AI world it's a knife edge.
Is it a little scary to you?
The interesting thing is, since I've been looking at AI, I've learned that I can now see when something's AI, and what's interesting, for what I've seen so far, everything is hyper real, and I'm wondering if that's not going to push the art people doing the paint to do stuff more textured, because it's so smooth, it's so hyper real, and I find like airbrushed, and that I feel that our art world is going to become more textured, more highs and lows, like maybe adding more dimension to it, and maybe adding 3D, but I don't know about AI. I mean, it's definitely a language that you have to learn to program it in,
Right.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Oh, I love that take on that. I really do. Are you working on something right now that we can know about, or any projects that you've got coming up that you want to share?
Just good question again. Not really. I mean, what I do want to go into talking about AI, and I'm thinking about it, is I'd love to do pottery. I want to work on pottery, and I want to get back into painting myself and adding more texture. So that's something I want to do.
Okay. Is pottery something you need to learn more about, or are you pretty comfortable with doing it now?
I did it when I was a child, and here's Moya, my media group friend.
Live pseudo audience. I know. I love it.
She knows I'm so lame in it. That's why. But no, I did it when I was young, and I remember I love it, and I'm so drawn to it. Like I'm just fascinated by it and what people are doing, and the volume that it's going in, and the direction it's going into now. It's definitely getting more recognition, and it's not because it's getting more recognition. I just want to do it. As I'm getting older, I just want to do stuff with even more permanence than before. Yeah.
And a question, one final question about pottery. If you make a piece, does it have to be perfect, or are you okay with imperfections?
No, imperfection for sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
How do our listeners find you, and how do they find your art, and how do we get more of it?
Okay, I do have a store that doesn't have my name on, but I am working on it.
Okay.
Actually, the signage arrived this weekend.
Oh, congratulations.
So it's on 998 Glenary Street on the corner of Anita.
Okay.
And so I'm not always there, but my phone number's there. My studio is 1 block away. Please call. I am so happy to drop what I'm doing and open up. And I'm on Instagram, Diana Garreau, Garreau.
Okay.
And that's it. That's my two main avenues. Yeah.
Diana Garreau, I am so delighted you stepped into the conversation this morning. It's been wonderful. I look forward to us having many more conversations like this.
Lovely meeting you.
Thank you so very much. If you missed anything, you can catch it a little bit later on the Voice of Laguna website. It'll be up on our podcast page in its entirety. And then I've got her number and information for you here if you're looking for it. 8:28 the time. This morning's Artist Corner was brought to you by the folks at the Honacar Foundation for Arts and Culture, raising the bar of the art we check out. 8:28, it's the Mornings with Ed show.